What up, it's your boy Roy Jones Jr. Right now you're checking out Lineal Boxing TV with Bertie. Don't miss it, the man is fantastic. He even tell you about, I mean look, he got the best looking guy ever boxed, the best fighter pound for pound ever, right here.
Steve Bird, Lineal Boxing TV and Mr. Edwards.
Afternoon, Stephen. How are you?
I'm really good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I was just saying, I've interviewed probably everyone out of Guildford City. Yeah. The last person I've had a proper sit down was with yourself.
Yeah, I'm always so busy now, running about after the boxers.
Thanks so much for your time. If you don't mind, we'll have a quick chat about boxing.
Yeah, it's always boxing.
It must be so strange for you being in this gym, being so quiet.
Oh, I walk through the doors sometimes, unlock, and then people are in behind you within 10 minutes, and yeah, I can't remember the last time it was quiet as this.
But it's quite nice, isn't it, coming in and out?
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
How did you get into boxing?
I got into boxing with, sort of my dad not pushed me into it, but I was a radical. And then I went training with Rodney DeMare. Michael Stevens picked me up when I was about 11, 12. And he trained me up with Rodney DeMare. Then I went to Jack Austin at Reading. And then soon as that, I've been addicted. It is addiction, ever since, I guess.
What was your earliest memory?
Watching Muhammad Ali on the telly, Joe Frazier, them fights from the 70s, watching the black and white television, but the excitement around it, you know, all the family, it was close family, just watching that, and yeah, I think that era of the heavyweights really got me addicted. And also in the 80s, there was the middleweights, weren't there? The Earns, the Aglers, you know, and that again was a great era. So like that pulls you in, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was a tremendous era, wasn't it? It was straight to coaching, did you? No,
I boxed at about 28 fights, but I got married at 18, so, you know, obviously, and then I was a dad at 19, so obviously I had to work, and that put me off a bit. So I had 3 or 4 spells at boxing, competing, and the last time I boxed, I retired at 34. This club was called Onslow Lion. Years ago it was called Guildford, and I took my little boy up there, Lewis, he was about 6 at the time. I was interested in him, he was a little talent, so I took him through the doors with Alan Toms and Arthur McIntosh. They didn't take little ones in, and I said, he's a good kid, because I was doing a little bit with him, obviously, and no, and then they see him shape up, they said, oh, come in just for the night, and I ended up boxing for that club. No, I really enjoyed it, I had 3 years boxing, but I always knew I wanted to coach. I was more settled at that time. And I had a good knowledge for the sport, but I did want to carry on boxing just to freshen myself up. And I could have went on a little bit long, but then I took my first coaching badges, and then I started a little mini minors class with my Lewis, and then I started getting kids in. And because there was only 4 or 5 boxers in this club when it was on when I went, who competed. You know, and we've built that up to like 50 or 60 carded boxers over the years, you know. But it come from the little ones, and you know the other coaches didn't really have the time. But it was 4, 5, 6 years development, and then we started having the champions. You know, and that was it.
Yeah, it normally takes like the 5 years just to get that conveyor belt slowly started.
Because they were more interested in the seniors, but we built the juniors up. As a matter of fact, when I first started coaching, I had Billy Claydon, and bang, we had our first champion for years. Clifford Smith come through, Ruben Giles, all of them come through, and then the club started lifting off. But it was a lot of time, a lot of effort. You give a lot up, don't you, to achieve. You give a lot up. You give time, family life. You give your living up, you know. But it's all worth it. For me it is anyway.
Did you all sort of know you wanted a coach? Was that always in your plan?
Yeah, I did. And then I took my first badge, and then I knew straight away that I could have a certain, I don't know, you have to have something that you get a bond with certain people, don't you? And start building, and then I've got a good eye for coaching. And I've learnt a lot. I've worked with some great coaches over the years, professional and amateur, and you know, you learn and develop your sort of style, don't you? So my style really is, you know, I don't like brawlers. I've put time into them to make nice boxers, counter punches, but with power. If they've got to go in the trenches, they can. And you know, with not just me, you know, I've developed good coaches as well under me. As well, you know what I mean? So we've got success. We've had success for years.
It must be really good for your foundation as well, starting with the juniors, starting with the children, because you just instill that sort of basics, isn't it? Yeah. Every little child that wants to start, I think they want to put on the gloves and have a fight straight away, but you have to learn their technique, their footwork.
Exactly, and you know, and then you've got to have a lot of patience, haven't you? Because all they want to do is put the pads on and spar, don't they? But if they do drill after drill and you get good footwork, good fitness, you know, and then we come through and make good boxers.
Also as well, how nice is it for you to see these little juniors, like when you're starting, progress, and then you see them 6 months later and they've completely changed, their ego's gone, their bitterness is gone.
Well, we've always been, and I've installed it, a community club as well. We take all comers, you know, all ethnic minorities, anyone we take, but they have to be disciplined in the gym. And then we can work with them, you know, and you have a lot to put up with as a coach. You have a lot to put up with, but you know, you bite the bullet and do it, you know. And then there's nothing better than going to, you know, we're talking about amateurs at the minute, is going to a national finals with 7 or 8 boxers, 6 boxers, all in that final that you brought through from them babies, you know, and then they pick the medals up and think, you know, that you're doing all this for sort of the love of the sport, but that means more than money when you make a champion, you know. But also we've got kids who are here who have never boxed, who will never box, and you know, they come and enjoy the sport anyway. So we're all about a community, really.
That's a really nice blend as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you said, you can have children come in here and they don't have to fight, do they?
No,
they can just come here and get fit and they can do something.
Yeah, and we work with challenging kids. I enjoy that. Obviously, there's only a certain amount of time in the day you can work with that, but we have a great variety of coaches here who all put the time in, give the time up to help the kids in the community, you know.
Like you said as well, can you just try and explain, it'll probably take all day, but just the amount of time and effort that goes into that amateur sort of like training.
Yeah, if I say, if they just want to come and keep fit and lose a bit of kilos, that's fine. But if you want to make, you know, a 12, 13-year-old boxer, whether that's female or male, a champion, it's 6 days a week, twice a day. They've got to train unbelievable because there's so many good boxers about, so many good clubs about. You know, and to get to that final, you've got to be another level. To win that final, you've got to be another level. And that's it. And then hopefully they go on to England and GB Honours, you know, which they have. You can see the balls. We've done that, so.
Also as well, you have to be so disciplined, don't you? Stay on your weight all the time. And
yeah, it's hard. And then I say, when they get 16, 17, that's when you start losing them. But luckily enough, I think over the last 5 years, they're staying on more. But they see, don't they, the Tysons, the Billy Joes, especially the Travellers, you know, they're seeing now, you know, works harder. Okay, I've got a talent, I'm winning national finals, let's stay on. So that's pleasing in a way. And
that success breeds success, doesn't it?
Yeah, it do.
Tyson Fury was here once, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hughie, very, you know, out of all the brothers, there's John, Peter and Hughie, me and him was closer than the other two. I know them, they're very good friends, but you know, Hughie come down and he said, I've got this, my nephew, he said, we can't get him a fight up there. That's all right, register him with us. We was on his low line at the time. And we was working close together, was Wayne Johnson then. So we registered him to Onslow Lion, not Guildford City then. We changed that in 2003. And he had two amateur contests for us, one at Lakeside Country Club. And then we was going to have one at Brighton. But as we was walking to the ring, and this is truth, the baker, who was called a big heavyweight, and this is true, walked to the thing, looked down at the card, and the card was filled up for Baker, 1 on points. So we looked at the ring, and that's a story that's definitely 100%. Tyson was young at the time, and I don't think he would have stopped this man, but he would have beat him on points. But they filled it up, and then there was a crossroad, so he was going to be cheated where he'd done that. And then I think that was it. He had 1 or 2 fights for us maximum.
What an amazing story that
was. Corrupt. It was corrupt. And they said it was a mistake. So we went to Brighton, yeah, and then now I had a big heavyweight in MP, he had 3-0, and we fought Derek Chisora on the same bill, he was at Finchley. And definitely we won that fight that night as well. But we got a majority decision on points, lost, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, that was a good story, isn't it? When I see Tyson at Lakeside, like Wayne matched him up with like a novice sort of heavyweight, 4 or 5, 6 bouts, and Tyson got in there. Obviously he won, but I never thought that he'd have gone on to do what he's done, because I thought, yeah, he's okay, but he wasn't. But he developed, and he was only 16, 17 then, you know, and he fought a match 17, he fought a senior. But look how he's developed. So you can't just look at that 16, 17-year-old kid and think he's okay. But if you keep pushing, you can get the sky's the limit, isn't it?
That's crazy, isn't it, as well? How amazing has he done, though?
Unbelievable. He's an inspiration, isn't he, you know?
There could be a good film about him when it's all done, couldn't there?
Yeah, sure, there's more to come, isn't there?
Yeah. Because I remember, like you said, you sort of watch him, you think, well, he's not quite there. McDermott, when he fought for the English title, and I thought, this guy isn't going to go on, I don't think. And then you look at him now, he's just got it all, isn't he?
But his speed and his movement, you can't read him. And he fought an Argentinian. Again, his uncle Huey gave me a ticket. And we went to watch him. And then that night I looked at him, now he's coming on a little bit then. And wow, I thought, yeah, he's got it. He's just speed and his range. And yeah, and his confidence. His confidence is...
Just, he can do it all, can't he? Yeah. No one can touch him at the moment.
No, but he's still humble, isn't he? He's still humble. That's what I like about him. You know, we've been down the sparring with Peter, took some heavyweights up for Huey and stuff, and he's humble.
Yeah. My friend saw him in LA. This is a true story. This never get out in the press. They only want to hear bad stuff about him. But he saw a beggar on the street, run up to him and give him his trainers. My mate said he was there, true as day. Yeah. Took his trainers off, give them to him, give him some money.
Yeah. But that's got to give that fella a lift, innit?
Yeah.
Aye?
What a wonderful story, and like I say, with his mental health as well, you can do anything, can't you?
Well, that's right. Touching on that, you know, there's so many boxers with that situation that a lot of people don't know about, and you know, and a lot of boxers here and have got things that I know about that I won't repeat the names that they're struggling on with, you know. But as a coach, they confide in you, don't they? And then it's with you, and you're just there to listen to or say the right words, isn't it? But boxing is such an isolated sport, and especially if somebody wants to achieve their dream and keep getting set back, because there's so many in professional boxing, isn't there? You know what I mean? You hold your back or promise you fake things, force this and that, but you learn as you go on.
It's such a weird sort of way to explain it, but in such an honest sport, when you're bearing your life out in a ring in front of everyone, how sort of brutal and like stuff goes on behind the scenes. Like you said, just these little decisions, they're already decided. And
yeah. And you just got to keep your arm around and keep going.
Just going on to your sort of like professional side then, and like you said about being a coach, how difficult is it to sort of like, you've got such a range of different fighters here, haven't you? You've got quiet lads, you've got outgoing lads, you've got females, you've got... How many different hats do you have to wear? Because you have to be some a little bit stricter with some, put your arm around another. Yeah,
some you got to talk softly, put your arm around. Or I'm sort of not quiet, but you know, that I don't have to shout a lot. A lot of coaches are very shouty in the gym, and they do that. But I'll raise my voice, I'll do that, and that I get response because I got a lot of respect for me. They all respect me. But in the corner again, you have to put different hat on. If one's got his head down, you've got to get him up, haven't you? Well, you've got to shout them. But some people can't take that. They can't take that, and the red goes down, and then you have to get them back, don't you? You know what I mean? But there's so many different styles, and I don't know. It's like training a little 6-year-old up to a super heavyweight. How do you do it? What's the difference? A lot of people can't do it. It's an art, isn't it? You know, and luckily enough, I can train the little kids. Flyweight up to a super heavyweight, and they're all individual. So luckily enough, over the years, I can do that. How do I do that? I don't know.
But it's nice as well watching these little lads coming through. Do you pick a few of them, think, or you're...
Yeah, as soon as they walk through the door. As soon as there's a little, going back to there's a little girl called Ocean Garrett, and she come in here, she was a naughty little girl. She's 11 now, she's ready to box. If it wasn't for the COVID, she'd have been national champion now. But within 2 sessions, I knew she had it, and she's something special. Ocean Garrett, look out for the name in the years. Little blonde girl.
Something special, yeah?
Yeah, she'd be major champion.
What kind of stuff are you looking for? Is it just their attitude, or is it just the way they move, or their...
We're just getting on with it. Yeah. Just getting on with it, and then show them something, and they pull it off. Whether it's immediately or a couple of weeks later, at least they're listening and trying. You know, it's like Thomas Kindon. He came here at 6 years old. We went together and won 10 national titles, GB trials, and he become 11 bout pro, winning 10. But he got other interest But look, that's a good story, isn't it? We had 10 national titles we won, and then we won 10 fights, losing one on his last one, and he won 2 belts. So that's pleasing, taking a kid from that right the way up to that. And Thomas would have been British champion, but for them 10 fights, he didn't make any money. He's putting in, selling his tickets as hard work, you know. But he deserved a promoter to get behind him. But then obviously he's getting 23, 24, he's got to earn his living. So, but yeah, so I can do that all the way up.
Let's go on to your sort of professional side then. How hard is it for these lads just trying to earn a living, trying to get fights? I've seen it backstage, like in the last minute, it's still taking phone calls, trying to sell tickets, and it's a side that no one really sees, isn't it?
No one really sees, and you know, I've got to say to anybody's boxer's friend, just buy a ticket, even if you don't go, 25, 35 quid, what it is, that is a sponsorship for that boxer. And if you don't sell 100 tickets, you know, the boxer's earning, he's working hard, and he got his own money in. But this is what lets so many good talents there. I mean, there's so many good talents who go on the journeyman road, isn't there? There's so many, like, I could name 5 or 6 real boxers who've been here as pro, who could have been British champions, but it's just so hard to sell the ticket. And, you know, they've got to get a living.
And that's the thing as well with journeymen. People don't understand, journeymen were all, like, at one stage, really good prospects.
But they're true professionals, aren't they? They turn up when they're said, they're on weight half the time, aren't they? You know, experienced professionals, aren't they? You know, but like I say, they could have been real prospects in the time, but they earn more money than some of the prospects, so, you know, on top of their work or whatever they're doing. But with the situation at the minute, it's tough for them, isn't it?
How have you found all this COVID? Obviously, it seems like a lifetime ago they were in Aldershot, weren't we? That show.
That's a great night, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah, good show. I say, done that show with Mervyn Turner, Shamrock Promotions, and we was open to plan 2 or 3 others, and then the situation come. But we're sitting here training, and again, like you say, got to keep your head around, keep your hand around the boxers, and keep them training. Anything can happen, can't it? You know, but hopefully we can do something soon.
Any news of any sort of shows coming up soon, do you think?
Well, I talked to Mick Hennessy probably 2 weeks ago. I was asked about one of my cruiserweights, Ches Niall, you know him?
Yeah, I know.
He was at the show, wasn't he? Ben Vickers, they boxed in the amateurs, so his team contacted me. I said, yeah, we're up for it. I contacted Ches. And then Ron Bodie I worked with, we all agreed, okay. But then Hennessy couldn't increase it from 5 to 7 because the cost was a lot more, you know. So we're hoping to do that fight sort of November, December, and Hennessy said if the starting netting crowd's back in, try and get the Guildford Spectrum. So obviously I'll get on the phone to him next week and see what he thinks. But the virus is changing again now, isn't it? Who knows what we can do, you know. But if not, we've got to do, again, something pay-per-view on the internet. And again, the fans, please buy a ticket to try and get the boxers fighting. You know.
Just sort of thinking outside the box. Going on from that, we were just talking, you had a mad experience at Eddie Hearn's Garden. Yeah,
I worked with MSM Pole Management, Martin, good friend, and Chantel Winters and Montel, isn't it?
Montel Griffith.
Yeah, they said to work with them, because Martin, I worked with Hunter a couple of times. Yeah, and so I got there, and it was a mad experience. It was really, really well organised. Obviously, we'd done the test, isolated for 24 hours, come back, and it was so professionally done, it was unreal. But just to watch it outside, and then I'm looking at Katie Taylor in there and that, and then I'm looking, I thought, she's unbelievable, and the other girl, but when you take all that O2 away, all the thing, it's just a boxing ring, isn't it? And I thought, you know, there's some of the boxers here who are not far off. They're not far off when you break it all down.
That's crazy as well, isn't it? Yeah. When all the razzmatazz goes, and all the crowd and all it is a ring, isn't it? With 2 people.
Yeah, boxing ring. Yeah, but it was very difficult with the visors on to look at, you know, it's different, totally different. But that Babik, he you know, Chantel done all right, but I don't know, didn't show enough ambition for me, I'll speak directly. But he's quite a solid fighter. But it'd be good to see him tested, he's one to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a powerful guy, isn't he?
Powerful guy, yeah.
What did you think of Povetkin's KO?
Well, it was just sensational. Wow. Sensational, isn't it? And see, I was watching it, and he touched him to the body a couple of times. And I think them touches was probably hurting him a little bit, and faint and come back. But Dillian Whyte, I don't know, he didn't seem to have the snap. He went into it, it seemed like a spar. Did he overlook him and just think about the ties? This is it, and it's psychological. It's just unfortunate because he put him over twice, but yeah, you can't take that shot away from him. No one would stand up for it.
It was the way he set it up as well, wasn't it? Just
Do you think it'll be a rematch?
I think, yeah, Dillian Whyte has to do that. But the trouble is with Dillian Whyte now, all that hard work and all that momentum.
Yeah.
And Povetkin was such a dangerous fight still. And like I said, if he overlooked him, that is just...
Yeah. But I think it was a bad knockout, but I think he's come back from it. You know, got to train and reset himself, hasn't he? But yeah, he's changed camps right in the middle of that. You know, I respect both Tibbs and Xavier. You know, but everything's changing. Does that affect you a little bit? You know, but hopefully they can settle down now and get the job done on the next time. Because obviously we'd all like to see Dillian Whyte come back and.
He's a great talent, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, I really respect him and like him, and you know, a lot of my boxers go and spar him. So, but you can't take that away from Povetkin. Come on.
He's old school skilled, isn't he? He's Olympic champion.
Yeah, yeah.
And he gave Joshua a world of trouble before Joshua stopped him.
Yeah. So. You know what I like? It was like a big tent, well, like a big marquee, and then I was watching it, and I come in, see the fight, and then I come in. And then, like the security, it's just that the same, all the security tight and that. They already got their own change room, and he come in with the belt and that. Dillian Whyte obviously was down the bottom. He was getting attention from the paramedics or whatever. You know, recovered at that time, I guess, but it was still all around him. And I stood up. I said, "Could I get a picture with you, Povetkin?" Like that. And the security, in the push. No, we can't. And he got about from here to you away, and he come back. Fucking hell! Excuse me for swearing.
No,
yes, I want a photo with him, and he gave me a real good photo, because obviously you don't get close to that people again, do you? You know, so I've got a great photo with him. And I stood aside of him. He's not much taller than me. I'm 6 foot, but he's that thick through. He's that thick through and pal, you know. Yeah, so yeah, it was good to get the photo of him.
Yeah, that's like what was that knockout in that kind of arena? What was it? Just everyone seemed stunned.
It was like it was in slow motion, wasn't it? It was like it was in slow motion, because he just boom brought it right the way out. Yeah, boom.
That's what people pay, isn't it?
Yeah, the rematch would be another pay-per-view, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Another big card.
Yeah.
So, going on from your sort of professionals, what's been your professional highlight so far with your lads? Every fight is an highlight for me. Every spar is an highlight for me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No. Some of your sparring you can pay.
Gym wars, isn't it? Yeah, and I egg it on. I egg it on and wind everyone up. Like, you know, nobody gets mouthy back, but yeah, you know, they have gym wars. So this morning in here, Kamal come up, you know, Kamal?
Yeah.
He come up, and Glenn, his coach and that, and you know, he's a dangerous fighter. But I've got 4 or 5 heavyweights here and cruiserweights, and that you would pay to watch. And Kamal, you know, done great sparring. I think he done 10 rounds in here, but all my lads done well as well, you know. And yeah, so that today was unreal sparring.
Yeah, you've got a good stable now. How many professionals do you have at the moment?
17 in here, and then I managed 2 or 3 others, you know, just about. And we've got a couple of heavyweights. There's one at Portsmouth, call him the Tank. Can't wait for him to go. He's about 38, but he's done 50 unlicensed, and he's knocked them all out nearly. So Darren Wiseman trains him. So again, he's raring to go, but he's a massive ticket seller. He sells 250 tickets. Okay. So they like him, and he'd be exciting. So about to turn him over, getting an interview.
Especially those heavyweights, that's what people want to see.
Yeah,
stopped, isn't it?
But where we've got some big lads in now, we've got a lot of people travelling. As you say, Plymouth's 3.5 hours. And we go out a little bit. So we're going down to Don Charles's on Friday. Very good friend of mine, he got some good fighters there. Yeah, you know George very well. He's you know, through the lockdown, he's just getting himself back fit. But that's a major talent. 10-0. Well, 10 fights, 9 wins, 1 draw. So you know, a couple of fights. If it hadn't been the lockdown, he'd been looking for a southern area now. There's a lot here. Just one to mention in it. It's
just taking those opportunities as well.
Yeah.
It's the luck, isn't it, as well?
Well, as I say to him, with the situation, it's not that if you're Channel 5 or your MTK, they don't want to see the journeyman now. They want 50-50 fights. The phone could ring any time, couldn't it? I said there's some 10-0, 8-0, 5-0 here. So they're attractive fights for the telly, aren't they?
That's you've got to sort of just always be ready, don't you?
Yeah, always ready, you know, and they're training 3 or 4 times a week and doing their own work, so we'd only need 2 weeks' notice and we'll go.
So what are your, have you got any sort of crazy stories from boxing? Any backstage stories? Any, Don Charles is a character, isn't he?
He's a good character. Yeah, we've been to his gym and it's kicked off a couple of times with the boxers. Yeah, me and him had to get in between Naylor Ball and one of his cruiserweights or heavyweight. That was funny, but we stopped it. Yeah, you get it all the time, don't you? You get it all the time. Not all the time, but yeah, I like it.
Naylor Ball as well. It's a shame with him. He sort of like had that amazing stoppage, didn't he, in Aldershot, and he could have...
Unbelievable stoppage. You know, we was just looking to move on and box again that month, the next month. You know, and he's just 20. Is he 23 now? I think he's 23 now. You know, he's just getting his strength. He's just getting his strength, and you know, and when he thought come out, it was the best thing that happened because he's got a different fighter. And, you know, and he didn't knock him out. I just put the tail on because it was just a little bit early for us. But it doesn't matter because he come on from it. Naylor's one to watch, and you know, I can't understand why he was with Frank Warren, signed over with him first thing. Me and Joey Powell did, but he didn't give us time to develop. He was offering like Fabio Wardley on his second fight. And it's, you know, mate, he was 18 then, 19 rather.
You don't really get your man strength, do you?
So, but was he 8-1 now? So another couple of fights, we'll find a Southern Area title if it's the right one.
And like I say, with boxing now, that sort of, when you lose, that's sort of gone out of it a little bit now, isn't it? Because that used to be the be and end all trying to keep an undefeated record, but it's sort of gone a little bit now, isn't it?
Well, it should do, shouldn't it? It should do. I think you need 3 or 4, especially if you've got a boxer, Naylor's national champion. We fought Tobias in the final of the youth. He beat us on points, Tobias, but Naylor was 17. But look at that experience. But if you win a national title, why do you need to fight 10, 15 journeymen who just folding up? They've got to be challenged a little bit, haven't they?
Probably learn more in that fight.
Learn more in that fight. You know? And Sean Duffy was a good challenge for him, wasn't he? Not many people do that to him. You know, so he's ready to move on a little bit.
You look at Klitschko, he got knocked out early, I think, by Ross Purity, and it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah, I didn't see that fight, yeah.
Yeah, best thing that ever happened to him. Mm. It's sort of just, you learn, didn't you? You learn on the job.
Learn on the job.
You know, like it's a sparring that, but you have to have that competition, eh?
What was, who's your boxing hero?
For me, it's Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. Obviously, Ali, blah, 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 but Marvin Hagler, I study him and I watch him his moves.
You can do everything.
Everything. I really, really like him. Look at that era, you know. But I like Hagler, yeah, he's my, always has been, yeah. No, I don't get a lot of time to watch boxing or films, and I don't get a lot of time for it. But I'll just go away and study on the boxers I'm here with, working with, and I think a little bit, I come back and do that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Senior Byfield's joined me now for the last 4 weeks, and I can't wait. I'm working on things with him. He's a bit of a sponge because he's, I think he's been a sleeping giant because he's done a lot himself. No disrespect to his other coaches that he's worked with, but I think I'm bringing something different out for him. I can't wait to see, for everyone to see that. Yeah. Ricky Little's joined me now. I say me, but we have Casey and Terrier and Lenny Fletcher. They're the coaching team for the pros. James Birchall, James Lee comes up a little bit, but yeah, it's got you know, we've got a good team here.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Who's sort of your standout at the moment? If you could
what, from here?
Yeah. One of your pros.
Well, the one I want to see going is George Lamport.
Yeah.
I want to see him get in the right super welterweight. I think that's his division. He may go up to middleweight in a minute, but I want to. We've tested him with British champions, British title challengers. Won't mention no names, and he's took him to school. So I need that to be tested. I need him tested the next couple of fights. I need him one fight to come back wherever we can, and then we win a good challenge. Because George's style of boxing style is when people come to really have a go. That's when we're going to have the success, and they will get banged.
He said his next fight is coming out in a Power Ranger.
It's a misfit.
Power
He's a misfit. But yeah, there's so many coming through. But yeah, that's the one. You know, he's ready to go.
You've got a good bunch here, though, isn't it? It's such a different blend of people, isn't it?
Yeah, There is.
George Lamport said he wants to tattoo you with his new tattoo. So.
Yeah, when he wins a British Championship, then he can put a tattoo somewhere.
That's on camera, George.
I tell you what, he's doing a good job at that. Unbelievable. He's addicted to tattoos, I think, but now he's putting them on other people, and he's an artist. It's unbelievable. He's adapted to that quick. But yeah, you got to win a British belt first, then I might get one.
There's so many. You need people like that in boxing, don't you? There's so many amazing stories, so many funny stories.
Yeah.
For such a hard sport, like I said, the hours you put into this gym.
Hours, and you know, there's a kid here, Alfie Clegg. Have you interviewed Alfie? Yeah, you know, it's a story we're going to book one day, or a thing. But he's at flyweight now, and he's on it. He should have debuted in February, but I'm glad he didn't. He just improved and improved and improved, and I think 4 or 5 fights he'd be winning a title.
Just even by talking to him, you just sense he's got something about him, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got something about him. There's lots of characters, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've interviewed a few of them here now, haven't you? There's a few more that's joined, so you can get some more interviews, and a few coming back. So good.
Is there anything you want to end on?
I'd just like to thank all the boxers who've shown trust in me. Thank all the boxers who, some of them are not, who are not doing everything they're asked in. You know, just still being a bit lazy, but to get that right. And all the trainers and all the people behind the club who's helping me on the journey. Yeah, and the sponsors helped me along the journey, West Labs. Hopefully they can come back and get right behind us and get some fucking money out. Scott Livingston, that's for you, boy.